Hi, and welcome to Cover Brand, where we cover all things branding, marketing, and advertising to help you understand what the hell branding is and how it works to grow your business. Welcome, and welcome back to Cover Brand. I'm Ethan Decker. Today I have Bob Jordan on the show. Bob, how are you?
Doing great, Ethan. Thanks for hosting me.
I'm excited that our mutual friend Jeff connected us for the show. And before we get into your business and all the things you do and your questions, we have to talk about cover songs. That's just how we roll here. So, is there a cover song you brought to the show?
I had to. How could I show up without one?
Thank you. Well
I'm
played.
going with Disturbed. Sounds of
Which
Silence.
song? Oh, okay. Disturbed Sound of Silence.
And by the
So
way, I understand I'm not alone. I think it's over 1 billion. I think he's at it over 1 billion people
views,
listening or whatever.
streams, views of his cover.
Whatever. Yeah.
All right. So we're talking about The Sound of Silence, which is an ancient song by Simon and Garfunkel. I don't even know when it came out. 67, 66, something like that.
Probably.
I do know this much about the original. The first Simon and Garfunkel version of it was a really simple, stripped down acoustic version. And it was just the two of them singing harmonies with like a guitar, and it tanked, it bombed, it didn't go anywhere. And then some producer came into the studio and put a band around them, added drums, added a jangly little guitar, like Mr. Tambourine Man type guitar, and the song took off and became a massive hit, and maybe one of the most famous hits for Simon and Garfunkel. And then when did Disturbed cover it? Do you have any clue when the hell that one dropped?
Oh man, you want me to go look this up? Here we go.
Sure.
Let's see.
Disturbed was in the noughts and the teens, I want to say. Aren't they like a metal band as well?
You're over my head, buddy.
You just know this particular cover.
I do, and I don't tend to go. Love music, of course, but I don't tend to go for covers.
Huh.
So your question was prompting me.
Mm-hmm.
I will tell you, I've changed my music habits this year.
Really?
Yeah. Intentionally.
From what to what?
So I'm a person where, like, every time I'm walking around, every time I'm driving, I'm listening to books, recorded, books on Audible, whatever.
Okay. Yep.
Not so much podcasting or whatever, but what I realized was that by expanding my playlist and listening to more music, I was elevating my mood.
Oh, nice.
I think, like we all take for granted, it's like you like your music and all of that. But for me, what I realized was that changing the mix to more music and less
talking.
Now, recorded like fiction, I put in a different category, but just recorded listening to like business books or podcasts,
nonfiction.
Yeah, getting my brain out of that mode more into music has been a long-term elevation of mood, of happiness.
Wow. Well, I love that. I love that that was an experimental result, and that you've noticed enough that you figured that out. Also, by the way, I love music. I listen to music more than I listen to podcasts and books on tape, because it's kind of it's what all great movie makers know, which is the music tells you how to feel.
Yeah.
The music really simply tells you how to feel in a given scene. Scary music, you should be scared. Uplifting music, you should feel uplifted. The swelling crescendo music at the victory, you should feel victorious. And it's like the cheapest hack in filmmaking and probably a lot of other things, that the music tells the audience how to feel in any given moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think part of what prompted this for me was at some point, Oliver Sacks, the great psychologist, psychiatrist.
Yeah.
He said at some point there are two natural cures in terms of, if you don't want to take drugs, you're not feeling great, your mental state. And he said those two things are nature and music.
Oh yeah. That's well put. They do that. They have clinically proven that those things can actually make you less depressed, increase your mood, increase your
Yeah.
motivation, all that stuff. Yeah.
Was this
That's
part of your
great.
motivation for launching your podcast?
Not 100%. No, I would not say that elevating my mood was the reason I created Cover Brand.
No, I mean,
But
just in the sense of music as a primary
oh, oh,
uh hook.
no one's ever asked. The reason that music is part of the podcast is almost an accident, and I love happy accidents. I believe in happy accidents as a huge driver of innovation, creativity, and joy in the world. Um, I was trying to come up with a name for the show, and I don't know why cover brand, cover band, that combo jumped into my brain. I can't even explain how. But I was like, well, if we're going to cover stuff about branding and I do applied brand science, I'm not going to call the show applied brand science. That's boring as shit. So somehow cover brand led me to the notion that the thumbnail for the show should be a cover of an album cover, like a parody or a mix of an album cover. And it's certainly, if you've seen it, it's a parody of Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon, the prism that goes through, or the light that goes through um, the prism. And so I don't know why that led me then to the idea that we should talk about cover songs and that we should just make that a regular thing on the show for shits and grins, for fun, or because it does change your mood. I don't know. I didn't think of it intentionally as a mood lifter, but I let it steer me,
I
and
think it
I
is. I
said
think it's
yes
a
to the
puppy upper.
idea. Yeah. Well, I mean, the disturbed version of Sound of Silence is not necessarily a mood
Yeah, I
lifter.
know. I thought about that in advance, like, gee, wow, way to pick a down sounding song.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
That's pretty
And for
good.
those who haven't heard it,
Yeah.
Disturbed is a hard rock or heavy metal band, and they do this searing, angry version of the Sound of Silence. It's great. It's an awesome cover, and you're right. It's got like 1 billion views. Um, it is up there with the original in terms of its impact and its fame. So good call on that one.
I'm relieved.
Well played. So we'll get into let's cover some brand stuff next, right after these messages. If you've been jonesing to bring brand science to the rest of your team or your company, you are in luck. Applied Brand Science is now launching an online training program on the laws and levers of brand science so that you and your team can apply the lessons of brand science to grow your business. It's affordable, it's modular, it's online, and it's all at appliedbrandscience.com. And welcome back with Bob Jordan.
Gosh, Ethan, I feel like no time has passed at all.
It's crazy how time and space dilate when you're recording a podcast. Bob, you are the author of Right Leader, Right Time. You bring rapid growth to company owners with interim and fractional executive leadership. And the company you run, Interim Execs, is found at interimexecs.com. Is that correct?
Yep.
Yes. How long have you been doing Interim Execs?
Oh, I'm the old man of interim, at least in the US. Personally, I started as an interim CEO 30 years ago. We launched Interim Execs 20 years ago.
Okay.
About to have our
great.
20th anniversary.
And the book, Right Leader, Right Time, when did you finish that?
Gosh, you're bringing up painful memories. I think that was about 2.5 years ago. That was a 6-year labor of love. Every time you do a book, you think, oh, this isn't going to be that long.
Right.
This
I can
isn't
get
going
this
to
one
take
done
that
quickly.
long. And then 6 years later is like, what did we do? What hot mess did we get ourselves in?
Right. And yet there you did. You finished it. You got
Yeah.
it out. Nice. I would ask, are you pleased with it? But I have a sense that generally it's an up and down. You're pleased, you're not pleased. There's always parts you're going to hate. But it's out in the world. So the most important thing
It's
is
in the
it's
world,
done.
but
It's
I
done.
think it's a great question, and I want to answer it, which
All
is
right.
in the sense of what I'm grateful we have a publisher, a good publisher for it. I'm grateful
Mm-hmm.
that it came out. It has one really cool thing going for it, but other than that one cool thing in terms of what we did, I so
Mm-hmm.
wish I could, and maybe I should do it again over because it's simply too long.
The book is too long.
Yeah, it was done for commercial purposes.
Yeah.
When you have a publisher, they say, books price in the $25-$30 and, the audience needs 50,000 words. Now, I could
Right.
have
Right.
written even more than that, but the reality of it is there's one core truth in there around this
Mm-hmm.
leadership style that we created called Fixer Artist Builder Strategist, FABS for short, FABS, FABS leadership
Fixer,
styles. And that's
fixer,
it.
artist, builder,
Fixer
strategist.
Artist
Those are the.
Builder Strategist. And
Okay.
that is an enduring thing that in the end is going to prove to have predictive ability and statistical significance.
Nice.
And I think is
Nice.
going to help a lot of executives, a lot of leaders, and a lot of companies. Um, but these days I'd say cut to the chase and
Right.
great stories. But did we need 50,000 words? No.
Well, does this mean you can now write the right leader, right time workbook and the right leader, right time for nonprofits and the right leader, right time for startups? And each of those can be like 112 pages?
That is a great question. And since we're having a private conversation that we're not putting out into the public, I guess I can say that I won't worry about the publisher. Bless their souls. But,
Right.
even if they don't want to sign up for it, sign me up.
Right. Right.
Um, because yes, and we began to look at this rigorously, as in,
Mm-hmm.
what statisticians call, multivariate regression analysis to
Yeah,
tie
that is
traits
statistical stuff there.
to leadership style.
Right.
So, for example, I could tell you with pretty good certainty
Mm-hmm.
that a leader that we would call artist style, artist energy,
Mm-hmm.
one of their defining characteristics is they must work on multiple projects at the same time. They have to.
Right. Right.
Every artist
Yeah.
leader where their dominant wiring was artist energy, they have to have multiple projects.
Right.
And so can we prove it statistically? I think so.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, the opposite is fixer energy.
Mm-hmm.
Great turnaround executives, great folks in crisis tend to be very linear.
Right. One project at a time.
One project, one company. If you come across someone says, I'm the greatest turnaround executive you've ever met, and they're doing more than one company or fix at a time, run in the opposite
Run
direction. They
away.
probably are about to screw it up.
They're not a fixer, actually. They're an artist. Yeah.
Or they're
Oh,
cocky because
yeah.
every other time it worked. And so since they were able to do Enron,
Right.
they ought to be able to do a couple Enrons at a time.
Right. Right. You get one success under your belt and you think you can do too much. Yeah. So you've clearly had a solid career with a lot of executive work under your belt, and you've got several ventures going, let's call them. But what are, at this point in your career, what's a question you've got about branding and marketing that you're struggling with one of your companies or ventures?
Well, I think one of the things we blew was that we have this one site and, you want to put all the wood behind one arrowhead. So, the way interim execs has survived, thrived is because all of the SEO, all of the ranking has gone into interim execs. Well, then the
Mm-hmm.
question came up with right leader. We went and bought the domain .com. We're going to launch the book, right leader, right time.
Okay.
And there were different purposes. Launching the book, it was
Mm-hmm.
not part of the site. We did launch a separate site,
Right.
but in hindsight, that maybe wasn't optimal because we were splitting off SEO and effort and
Mm-hmm.
all of that. And the reason we did it was all around this ability to prove out rigorously in survey research what we were saying. And we thought, well, we
Right.
should distance that from interim execs as a brand and as a commercial thing
Mm-hmm.
to encourage more people and companies to go fill out a survey to figure out what's your energy, fixer, artist,
Yeah.
or strategist. But looking back on it, I'd love your take on this.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, did we make a mistake and are we still making a mistake? Because now it's sitting out there as a separate site.
Rightleader.com is indeed a separate site from interimexecs.com. Different, and you look at them, I'm looking at them right now, they're different colors, there's some different design, of course, different logos, different, some other different elements, but also some similarities because, of course, it's about leadership. Although Right Leader clearly takes you in a different direction in terms of what it's offering. So this is great. This is a classic question of brand architecture.
And
And
while I'm throwing our hot messes at you, Ian,
oh, you
even
got more?
well, we like when I say I'm the longest running guy doing interim and fractional in the US, some people can be a little skeptical and say, well, when my mentor told me what this was 30 years ago, I came home and I bought two domains. I bought
Uh-huh.
interimceo.com and interimcfo.com. So if anybody's been doing this longer than me in the US, you show me
Right.
the I own the gateway, we own the gateway domains.
Right.
But here's a
Right.
current thing. Right now, interimcio.com simply forwards into interim execs because that gets all
Okay.
the lead gen and the traffic. As we experiment with full AI models, we thought,
Uh-huh.
well, gee, why don't we spin off interimcio.com into its own site? And that
Mm.
will become a fully automated offering
Ah.
for inbound CIOs, CTOs, and for companies seeking that help. And then it's like, but wait a minute, are we making the exact same mistake we made with Right Leader?
Right. Yeah. Oh, this is a tricky question. Also, your bona fides for having a very early URL certainly puts you at the early Paleolithic stages of the internet for sure. It's back when people
Thanks for
were
dating me.
squatting on
Thanks for dating
oranges.
me. Now I'm of the dinosaur era, which if someone is just listening, it's true. When this beard grows out, I look like Santa Claus.
Well, then, well, if anyone ever says you're a dinosaur, just say "shut up" or I'll eat you.
Oh, I
You
like that.
know,
Good.
like, come on, own it, own it. Yes, damn straight, you're a dinosaur. They're
Yeah.
scary as shit. Um, so yeah, back in the day when people were buying oranges.com, hotels.com. Okay. So you clearly have the bona fides for early URLs and the fact that you've been in the interim world for a long time. Your question about all of these different websites is a great question of what I would call brand architecture, which is, do you want a house of brands? Like Coca-Cola is a house of brands. The Coca-Cola company does not sell Coca-Cola branded iced tea, Coca-Cola branded lemonade, Coca-Cola branded seltzer, right? They own different brands for all of those things. And I'd have to look them up for exactly which one because PepsiCo owns all the other ones. So you don't want to get confused at the shelf when everything is Coke branded and have to figure out, am I buying Coke iced tea or am I buying Coke lemonade or am I buying Coke kombucha? That's annoying and a pain in the ass. So different brands are useful for the shopper, but they're a pain in the ass for the brand manager. Because just like you said, now you've got another whole brand you've got to build and promote and get in people's brains and make famous and work on search engine results and now work on LLM results, right? Large language model results. So it's a pain in the ass to have separate brands, but they're useful when You just want to make it easy for people to understand this offers X and this offers Y. So it's hard when a company offers from A to Z, because then usually people just remember the company offers one thing. Like Amazon offers all these other services, but most people know Amazon for the one or two things they buy from Amazon. Whether it's web hosting or Mechanical Turk or retail media or ad placement. I mean, Amazon does so many things, and then most people just know it as one. So there's a real advantage, actually, to having distinct brands when you have distinct things that can kind of be the leader in their area. So, for instance, interim execs is a really broad topic, right? Interim executives of any type, of any flavor. But it's also a specific offering. I need a person. I need an interim executive, or I need some coaching or learning or information about having an interim executive. Would you say that Right Leader offers a different and distinct thing?
It's a great question. What I would say started as distinct is it was simply meant to promote a book.
Okay.
And its functionality was really just to encourage professionals to go take the survey
Okay.
to figure out what they were. And so it had such limited objectives that were not the same, that every time somebody said, oh, you should keep this inside interim execs, it'd be like, yeah, but then it's buried.
Right. Yep. Yep.
And now even more so that interim execs owns the entire concept, this typology of fixer, artist, builder, strategist.
Right.
So that, without a book, could have easily folded into the main site. But the more that we thought we were going to go pursue, like going into corporations and saying, if you want to get us on a call with your top 1,000 managers, and everyone can go take this survey for free in advance, and then we'll tell them what it means if somebody came
Right.
back with a result, which is they have dominant fixer energy. We'll tell you exactly what that means. Well, that was trying not to confuse a commercial message.
Yeah. 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 I'm looking at Right Leader. I'm looking at interim execs, and it does feel like, as much of a pain in the ass as it is to now have two URLs and worry about two things to optimize through search, that they are distinct enough that it could be useful to have them both. Yes, it's a pain in the ass, but ultimately, I think you're right that putting Right Leader under interim execs would bury it and would muddy the waters. So that people just wouldn't really dig into that element of the website. Doesn't mean you can't refer one back to the other. There can be a place for that. I'm trying to find an example where, I don't know, like, is there a place on the Coca-Cola website where it says, by the way, we also sell iced tea, go over to Lipton.com. And I don't know if they own Lipton. What brands do Coke own? So I get it right. Let's see. Coke, Diet Coke, Sprite, Fanta, Dasani, Smart Water, Topo Chico, Powerade. Well, there's a good example. Coke owns Powerade. And so Coke energy drink would be weird, right? That's a stretch. And if you added the energy drink element to the Coke website, it would be weird. But it's kind of unlikely that they would say, even on the Coke website, they'd say, by the way, look at our other 60 brands, or even just look at for Powerade. But I think you could do that. I think you could have a section on interim execs that drives to rightleader.com. But rightleader.com feels like it's a bit more focused on this notion of assessment, on who are the staff you have already, who is the team that's there, who are you as a leader. And it's more about learning about these styles, whereas interim execs might be more about, hey, let's figure out your executive team. Let's get some people there. that you need so that you can get going quickly. And more about, and I might be wrong, more about staffing, helping you staff up with interim support. How'd I do? Is that, am I
Say that again,
characterizing
Ethan.
them?
You just cut out. You're cut
Oh,
out.
okay. So,
Now it's
uh, okay. So it seems like right leader is much more about self-assessment, your team, learning, and interim execs is more about staffing and getting the staff and getting people hired. Is that a good characterization of the difference?
yes. We don't, because it's all C-suite. We're not sure what the great word is. I'm not sure it's staff, but you're absolutely right on in terms of the distinction.
Got it. Yeah, I think those are different enough offerings that they warrant their own websites. I think you could blend them together more even visually so that they look like their siblings.
Oh, interesting.
And since Right Leader is the new brand, you probably have less equity in it. So make it look and feel like a project of interim execs or a sibling or a sister website so that there's a linkage back. But I think the offering itself is really about who is your leader, who are your leaders, how do they behave, give them some self-awareness, training, coaching, education, stuff like that. And that would fall under right leader. But I think that might be a way you can solve it.
All right, that's interesting. So now try your genius on interim execs versus. So I'll give you two examples. Interim execs. The number one use case right now, interim and fractional leadership, I think around the world, not just in the US, is CFOs.
Okay.
The highest demand is chief financial officers. And
Yeah.
the reason is all good things. You can have a small company and you can now have a CFO. You don't have to hire
Yeah.
someone permanently. You
It's
need
true.
somebody for an hour or two a week, easily done, right?
Yep. Yep.
Well, we're in a space where we're the pioneer, we're the only player, and now we've got what, 50,000 competitors?
Right.
So we own InterimCFO.com, and we decided, well, why don't we just stick our fingers in everybody else's eyes? And so we spun off InterimCFO.com, really just to
Okay.
see what would happen,
Mm-hmm.
not supporting it with SEO,
Sure.
whatever. But we did it just to see, and also because sooner or later we're thinking, how do we form community
Mm-hmm.
around all of these folks? So that one now sits independent. We're not sure what we're going to do with it. But now there's another question around InterimCIO.com.
Uh-huh.
CTOs and CIOs are arguably the most tech-forward, AI-savvy role in the C-suite.
Right.
So we're thinking, well, if you're going to launch an automated offering and you don't want to screw up all of the good feeling that companies and executives have because we're such a human touch operation with interim execs, it's so
Right.
concierge, bespoke. Why don't we go spin off interim CIO, to its own site and its own offering?
Right.
What does Ethan Decker think about that?
Um, I, he- you know, here's what Ethan Decker would say.
Ethan
Ethan
Decker
Decker is
doesn't
starting
like
to
talking to
sound,
the third person about Ethan
that,
Decker. No, go
that's
on.
right. Ethan Decker is starting to sound like Moses Malone or Zlatan. Zlatan will be right back. Um, it's World Cup time, so I'm seeing a lot of Zlatan Ibrahimovic on the commentation, and he likes the person. So, what would Ethan say about this new idea of interim CIO or interim CEO? Ethan would say, put up a very simple facade page that leads you to interim execs. Use it like a landing page, which is what a lot of large organizations do, which is a specific page that meets a specific customer or prospect and answers their specific questions and then walks them to the main hotel door. So you would open up CIO, interim CIO or interim CTO, and then you would just put something there that says you need solutions. Your place for that is interimexecs.com. Let's take you there. And so you would walk them very quickly from interimcio.com to interimexecs.com. But you should also brand it strongly so that it looks and feels like interimexecs.com. Because you want it also to feel like you are the old, like UPS, no matter what kind of service they're offering, it's UPS. You want it to be UPS. So you can set up, and you do own interimcio.com and interimcto.com.
We own InterimCIO.com, InterimCEO.com.
So my recommendation would be to prop up very simple landing pages on each of those websites, but ultimately drive everyone to interimexecs.com and use the same branding. Use different messaging, but use the same branding. So it looks like your interim execs website, but it's addressing specific needs of interim CIOs or interim CEOs.
Gotcha.
But don't spend a lot of time building out interimcio.com as its own new thing with a new look and feel. That would be a waste of time.
I think that makes sense.
Yeah. So if it's common interests and common services, build on the same brand. If it's a really kind of new offering that's different enough because it's energy drink versus cola, then it can have its own brand. But even then, you can make it feel like a sibling as opposed to a complete standalone, if you'd like. Hopefully those are some helpful thoughts for you, Bob.
I love it. I'm going to send this to my business partner. I could beat her over the head with it to say, you see?
Nice. Good. Well, I look forward to seeing where you take it and seeing interim CIO. And I'm going to go to the rightleader.com and take my own leadership quiz so I can confirm I'm an artist.
Thank you, Ethan. I appreciate it. We're going to meet in person
100%.
these days.
Oh, hell yeah. We'll have a nice cocktail.
Yes. Thank you.
Cheers. So listen, brand science works best when it's a team sport. If you want your crew rowing in the same direction, call me to learn more about workshops, trainings, and talks, oh my, for your company. Head to appliedbrandscience.com to learn more. Oh, you're still here. So am I. Look at that. The show's ended, but yet here we are. Look, if you've come this far, you're the best. And to thank you for being the best, we'd love to send you some Frelk and Science AF stickers. So if you'd like some, send your mailing address, of course, your name too, and also your favorite superhero to info@appliedbrandscience.com, and we'll hook you up.